I'm going to show you in depth how to clean your air gun machine. This can be quite an intimidating process for people who have never used an airbrush gun, but we're going to try to make this as simple and easy as we can for you. When you purchase the system, you should have received a part system, or you can download it off of our website. It lists all of the different parts of our airbrush gun. With proper maintenance and care of the air gel gun, you really shouldn't have to ever replace the gun unless you dropped it or there's some significant damage to it. The only parts that you'll really have to replace are perhaps the needle and the nozzle in case of heavy use. With the air gel gun, the most fragile parts of the gun are the needle and the nozzle. How well the air gel sprays out and how evenly it sprays out is dependent on the curvature of the tip of the nozzle, and also if the needle is straight or if there's any damage on the needle. So those two parts are the most fragile parts of the machine that need to be protected. When you are stripping your gun to do a full deep clean, this is how you do it. You always want to take off the airbrush gun when you are doing a deep clean. Don't keep it attached onto the machine. Once you've taken it off, unscrew the end cap. Now, sometimes you'll find that some people use the airbrush machine without the end cap. It's kind of optional. The end cap has a weight to it, and so for a lot of people who do use airbrush a lot, it can get quite heavy. So you'll find that some people, they'll take off the end cap and they'll just leave it off when you use it. That's totally fine. Just be aware that if you were to drop it or anything, the end cap is really to protect the back of the needle. So if you were to drop it without the end cap, you could effectively damage the needle. So we do recommend leaving the end cap on, but it is optional. When you want to clean the gun, the bulk of the cleaning will be towards the front of the gun. Now, like I said, the nozzle and the needle are very, very fragile and sensitive. So what we want to do is protect it. Every time you're going to touch the needle or the nozzle, you want to make sure that before you unscrew anything, you pull back the needle. You unscrew the end cap. The end cap locks the needle in place. Without the end cap locked in, when you push down on the trigger and pull back, it will have nothing to catch onto. So you want to make sure to unscrew the needle until it's loosened. You don't have to unscrew it so it completely comes off. That will risk you losing the part. So just unscrew it and just leave it on. And what you want to do is just gently pull back the needle. You want to gently pull back the needle so that you don't see it anymore. You don't see the needle anymore poking out from the nozzle. Then at that time, you can unscrew the nozzle. Notice when you unscrew the nozzle, I can't even see the needle. If I can't see the tip of the needle in the front, I can't damage it. So that's the proper steps of taking apart your gun. Now I'm going to show you a comparison of our air gel head versus a more traditional style. Now, the more traditional style, you'll notice that it is solid around the front of the nozzle. And when I unscrew the front of the nozzle, you'll notice that the nozzle is actually still attached to the body of the gun. I can't actually remove it. Now, what's the part of the gun that gets clogged the most or the easiest? You guessed right, it's the nozzle. So imagine if there's something stuck inside that nozzle. How are you going to be able to wash it out if you're only able to access a teeny tiny entrance in the beginning? When you take a look at Aprés Aer Gel gun, when you remove it, it completely removes everything. The needle is still in there, but the nozzle is removable. So whereas with the older systems, when it's stuck in there, you're only able to clean it out from this side. Here you have the option of cleaning it from the back side here if there's a clog. So this, in essence, makes it so much easier to clean in case there's anything that goes wrong. You can take the brushes here in your maintenance kit. We're going to use the thinnest one for the nozzle. Always use acetone to clean these parts because our air gel is 100% soft gel. So acetone, it's acetone soluble. So you want to use acetone to clean it. I'm going to put a paper towel underneath to protect my workspace. And usually I would do this over like a little bowl. You want to dump. We don't recommend soaking the parts in acetone. It's really not necessary unless it's just so gunked up. Put some acetone in there. Use the little brush. Twist it around a couple times. Make sure to not damage the front of the nozzle. It's very, very fragile. The metal there is very, very fragile. So you want to do that a couple times just to make sure that it's free from any gel. If there's a significant or major clog inside the nozzle, you can unscrew this cleaning piece And then you can very, very gently from the back of the nozzle, insert it in. Don't push it out too hard. If you force this cleaning needle too far out, you'll widen the tip of the nozzle. It won't be the proper size opening and your gel is not gonna spray out properly. So all you wanna do is gently rotate and that should clean out the tip of the nozzle very, very well. So just be careful about that. At this time right now, if I wanna take out the needle to clean it, always take out the needle from the back. That minimizes the damage to the front of the needle. So you always wanna make sure to pull it out through the back. When you clean the needle, again, we wanna protect the needle, make sure that we don't damage it. This is the correct way to clean the needle. Take some cut up pieces of paper towel, put some acetone on there, and when you're ready to clean the needle, you wanna lay it flat against the paper towel and you wanna roll it. Just gently roll it so the pigment rolls off. What you don't wanna do is to go like this and then go like this. This creates unnecessary pressure on the needle and you might risk bending or twisting the tip. So just gently roll it off. Then at this time you can go ahead and clean your machine. Again, I would do this over a bowl. You can use this one to clean out the reservoir cup. Also make sure that there's no residue over here. Once everything visually looks like it's free from any particles or pigments, you're ready to assemble it. You wanna start first by inserting the needle. We don't wanna insert from the back because that means we'll have to use the tip of our needle to go in first. What we wanna do is put the needle back in from the front. Then you wanna pull back the needle so that it doesn't come out from the front of the body. At this time, don't tighten the end cap. Put your nozzle back in and then gently screw it on. You wanna make sure that the needle's fully pulled back so you don't hit any part of the needle as you're screwing. Then you want to gently push your needle back in until it's in the correct position. Don't force it out. If you push out the needle with too much force, it's going to widen the tip of the nozzle. Once it's in the correct positioning, then you want to tighten the back, put back the end cap, and you're done. One easy way to test if you've done the cleaning and the reassembly of the gun is to test out the machine. Instead of testing it out with color gel that you then have to wash out again, just use some acetone, or even water would do. Screw your machine back on. Again, make sure to notate the correct orientation. Don't tighten it too tightly. If you tighten it too tightly, you might not be able to untwist it out of the machine. And then all you have to do is drop some acetone into the reservoir cup, turn on the machine, push down on the trigger and pull back. If you don't notice any bubbling inside the cup, that means everything has been reassembled the right way, everything is sealed properly, everything is spraying out how it's supposed to be. Sometimes when you're taking apart the machine and putting it back, you'll notice that when you go to use it again, you'll notice that there's bubbling inside the cup or it's not spraying out properly. We're gonna teach you how to troubleshoot some of these issues. The most common issue that people face is they always ask, how come there's bubbling inside my reservoir cup? How come it's bubbling and it's not spraying out properly? One of the biggest issues is that the nozzle is not screwed on tightly enough. You might think that you screwed it on very, very tightly, but imagine if you went to screw it on like this, and I think it's pretty tight. We need to make sure that it's perfectly sealed so that air doesn't escape out and only escapes out where we want it to, which is through the nozzle. I tightened the nozzle, but not super tightly. And right now I can already notice that some acetone is starting to leak out the front. That is what happens when you don't tighten the nozzle enough. I'm gonna pour some acetone into the reservoir cup. And when I go to press and pull my trigger, you'll notice that there's bubbling inside the cup. That's because it's not correctly sealed in the front, and that's causing air to also wash out and back into the body of the gun. All you wanna do is make sure that the nozzle is tightened, pour some more acetone into the cup, turn on the machine, and if there's no bubbling inside the cup, you're good to go. If you enjoyed watching this video, please be sure to hit like and subscribe to our channel. And tune in next week for another episode where we teach you a simple but beautiful air gel design.